themselves, and they're most concerned is their part good, and they can't really be objective about how they're all fitting together. And so my job was to sit there and say, you know, Chris, you're playing, if you could go up an octave or down an octave where you're playing, you're right at the same register as Lindsey Buckingham's guitar. So the two, I can't hear either one because they're in the same register. If you could just move. So I was kind of the traffic cop, and so together, and I really I was an engineer. I didn't really know about producing things. This is something they insisted I help them do. The first time they asked me what I thought of a take, I said, come listen. And they said, we don't want to come listen every time. You sit there, you're there, you tell us what, was the first one better, was the last one better, did you like my bass part? You notice I changed my bass part? You know, and so I basically was forced to give them more input at the same time. So it was really kind of, as I said, a fascinating, these handful of people, you know, sitting in the studio. We had roadies, and we had to change the guitar strings that were all there. We were all there for 12 months, and we just lived this thing. And it really was like we survived, you know, the plane crash on a desert island. I feel like we're all connected in some way deeper than just it was a job. You know, it was pretty amazing. So anyway, that's what this is. You know, and any other questions?
How did you train? Was it as a sound engineer or?
I was a sound engineer. I had moved to LA from Northern California 5 years before and trained at being a sound engineer and learned to do it my own way, and I got pretty good at it. I guess I was the pop engineer of choice at the studio that I was working at, and when they came in and did a radio show right after their Fleetwood Mac album was released. They came in to do the radio show, and they asked for mixer, and I was the pop mixer, and so I got assigned to them, and it was great. So, and then I had to coincidentally mix Rhiannon for them for the radio show, and they loved it. And we hit it off, and they said, you know, we're about to do an album right now. Would you like to come do it with us? So me and my dog Scooter took off and went to Sausalito and spent 3 months there, and then we came back to LA and did another 8 months here in LA. So, yes.
I just want people to know, I already read this. I read it in less than a week. It was excellent. And I came in the store last Saturday, and I'm already done, and I'll never hear their music the same way again. You're a genius. You're an amazing person. I mean, we need to have another meeting after everybody here reads the book to find out. They have no idea what you did. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, that's how I did what we did.
Santa Barbara County Bowl. Plug for your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, you know, and through the story, there's things that happened. For instance, there was an incident where John McVie, brilliant bass player for the band, had written this great bass part for one of Lindsey Buckingham's songs. And after we cut the basic tracks, we moved back to LA, and most of the band decided to go to Hawaii and take a break. So Lindsey Buckingham, myself, and Richard Dashett stayed in the studio here in LA to work on layering, putting other colors and guitar parts in. And we noticed that Lindsey was a very nervous guy all the time. And we noticed that, like, what's up, Lindsey? You seem to be something on your mind. And it turned out this brilliant bass part that John McVie played on this song called Secondhand News was brilliant, but inappropriate. And Lindsey started saying, you know, I just, the bass part's all wrong. It's playing everywhere. It can't be playing, and I can't play my parts. It's taking too much real estate up is what it was doing. So eventually we started seeing Lindsey. He was basically just getting more and more anxious the whole time. And finally, Lindsey said, I want to re-record the bass. And I looked and said, really? Okay. You know, be like a background singer saying, I'm going to redo Celine's vocal. Okay. Well, he's my boss, so we didn't erase John's bass, but we let Lindsey do a new bass. And the new bass was the most boring bass you've ever heard, just going bum, 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 bum. Whereas John LaVie's bass was bum, 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 moving all over the spectrum. And what it is, it limited Lindsey's ability to play certain licks because John might be playing a bass note that would have conflicted with it. eventually Lindsay did this bass and he said, "What do you think of it, guys?" And we were going, I don't know. I like John's better, but not having Lindsay's vision on the whole thing. And then eventually John LeBeat came back about a week later. We had an assistant engineer, and Chris Morris, who was a kind of a troublemaker. Hey, Peter.
Hi.
He was a troublemaker, and so he said, right in the worst time, he said, "Hey, Lindsay, you want to play John your new bass part?" So John went, "What?" And John was not pleased. John really didn't know what position to be in because he was John LeBeat, and now this kid was playing bass on his song, replacing his genius bass part. But anyway, that was so. You mentioned that the record having a lot of interesting things in it. So I described that, and like Mick Fleetwood, who was the kind of the band's manager, said, "John, you're just gonna have to suck it up, be brave." And then Lindsay looked at Mick and said, "Oh, by the way, I don't like your drums either." so then Lindsay went out and played the drum section on a portion of the song. But in there, when you listen to the record, you'll learn and you'll hear. You'll say, "Oh, there's where the argument was over the bass, and there was this thing here," and it's very interesting. A lot of people tell me that once you hear the record, you don't hear it the same way anymore once you read the book.